Hello everyone, this is the Insert Title Show, and I'm your host, Wolf Strife. I am very excited to do this episode. On this one, I'm going to be talking about my favorite strategy game in the entire world, Myth: The Fallen Lords. And I'm basically the only person I know who has played these games. There were three of them. The first one came out in 1997. That's what I'm going to be talking about in this episode. Now, where to start on this one? Basically, it's a fantasy. God, I don't even know, how to describe it really. It's a fantasy 3D overhead kind of strategy game. Basically, if you played Medieval Total War, the camera kind of works a little bit like that, except it's a lot closer to you guys because you're not dealing with armies of thousands. Here you're dealing with armies of maybe a couple of dozen at the most. But basically, the reason why this game is so great, and it's actually in my top 10 favorite games of all time, it's got an amazing story, and the narrative, the way it's told and stuff is just unbelievable. In fact, I would say the story in Myth: The Fallen Lords is better than the Lord of the Rings book or movies. So there was a lot of people going, what? But yeah, in my opinion, it's better. So just for that aspect alone, if you can somehow get your hands on Myth: The Fallen Lords to play it, check it out. But the gameplay is very unique, especially for the time. I mean, you gotta remember 97. I mean, every strategy game, state of the art, best of the best strategy games at that time looked like Warcraft 2. You know, the stereotypical over the head, kind of cartoony looking figures, just, some violence. I mean, if a guy gets killed, he kind of, blood goes kind of everywhere. But in Myth: The Fallen Lords, it's 3D. You can move the camera around. You can zoom in, zoom out. You can tell your guys to go into formations, like 10 different formations. It's not like just 2 or 3 like you are used to in other games. Like basically the number keys on your keyboard, each one of those is a formation you can put your group into. And you can even rename each individual guy. I think last time I went through the game a couple of years ago, I named them all after my friends, so that was kind of cool. And it makes you want to keep these fuckers alive too, so that's really cool. But the game was made by Bungie, and it was the game series they did before Halo. In fact, the game kind of inspired Halo somewhat. Basically, Bungie did a game called Marathon, which was a first-person shooter. And then they did the Myth series. And they wanted to combine the two. Basically have a first-person shooter that you can, at will, switch out to an overhead strategy game, basically. Which is a brilliant idea, and I wish Ensemble Studios, when they did Halo Wars, would incorporate a little bit of that into it, instead of it just being a standard strategy game. But basically, when it came time to do Halo, they were like, well, we love the first-person aspect of the game so much, let's just, cut the strategy game and just have it be first-person shooter. So thus Halo Combat Evolved was born. But the strategy game aspects of Myth is amazing. So, and besides, I don't think first-person aspects would have worked in this game, but whatever. This is a strategy game, no first-person shooter crap. So, but basically, the story is amazing. What you do in the game is very unique. You order your guys around. Topography plays a huge part in this game, and unlike most strategy games, you do not create troops. Basically, the narrator tells a story of what's going on. He tells you the situation. You go where he was talking. You got an army. Could be a group of a couple of warriors, some dwarves who are fucking hilarious. Yeah, the dwarves in Myth totally inspired the grunts in Halo. They're wisecracking. They throw explosives, basically bottles filled with nitroglycerin. And The explosive effects in the game are pretty amazing, especially for the time. Basically, it blows up, shockwave, even the ground changes, and just, if any enemies or if any friendlies are caught in the explosion, just sends body parts and blood flying everywhere. Even weapons, like if your guys are only like 20 feet away, well, one of your warriors might get hit by a piece of an enemy's axe or something. But the game is just amazing. I mean, the story's great, the gameplay's great, strategy and tactics alone are amazing. And because you're basically having to complete a mission with a set number of guys, so good luck figuring it out, basically. But you're basically the Army of Light, go figure. You got warriors who are humans. You got berserks who are basically big-ass Scotsmen, basically, who carry claymores, and they're kind of fast attack shock troops, I guess. They just run in there, start hacking away with their claymores. You have archers, who are a race of, I guess, kind of odd-looking guys. They're not elves. They're called the Furbolg. They're kind of weird-looking guys who live in the forest and are the best of the best with a bow and arrow. You have dwarves who throw, like I said, bottles filled with nitroglycerin. And the enemies are basically an army of evil. They are mainly made up of undead thralls. Basically, all the civilians, all the soldiers who are killed fighting them, they reanimate into these moving undead. So they carry usually big axes and stuff like that. Basically, they're equipped as simply as you can equip an army. But they also have Solus, who throw poison-tipped javelins. They have Waits, who are basically corpses filled with explosives. And basically, the Waits are used to basically walk around. And if they get close to any good guys, well, the Waits cut themselves with a knife and they just blow up, spreading disease and pestilence and death wherever they blow up, so they're real nasty. Definitely you gotta use archers on them to keep them away from your good guys. And just crazy stuff like that. You got heroes and stuff like that. And it's just an amazing game. And the game was written, produced, and directed by Jason Jones, who would go on to basically do the same thing for the Halo, for Halo Combat Evolved. So yeah, just an amazing, amazing game. This is a very, very important game to me, and the stories, I keep saying the story's great, it really is. If you want to learn more about the story, check out all the websites devoted to it, and it's got a very popular multiplayer fan base too that I think's still around. I never really got into that, but still around somewhere out there. So if you're really into that kind of stuff, I guess you could check it out. But the game, the main campaign itself, though, is unbelievable. So if you can, I don't know. I mean, I bought the game in like 2000, so good luck trying to find it. But yeah, check it out if you can. And if you've already played it, then you know what I'm talking about, how just simply great this game is. So Myth the Fallen Lords. Rock on, baby.